Our imaginations are captivated by the mysterious realm of ninjas and their lethal armament and extraordinary abilities. Their ability to be stealthy and deceitful is fascinating because it reveals a rare combination of creativity and deadly efficacy. In this dark exploration, we will look at 14 hidden yet lethal weapons that ninjas used. The ninjas' capacity to transform commonplace objects into formidable weapons is on full display in these clever implements, which are emblematic of their ingenuity and tactical genius. Here are 14 of the most dangerous, little-known ninja weapons, including the Mad Makibishi and the Kudrings, which serve as spike traps for human flesh. Number 14. Kaga Hook and Rope. A ninja's toolbox was incomplete without the kaga, a grappling hook attached to a rope. This versatile tool served as an offensive tool as well as a way of overcoming physical challenges. The basic component of the kaga was a long, sturdy rope fastened to a metal hook, which often had many prongs. Some variants of the hook were strong enough to hold an adult's weight, allowing ninjas to easily climb trees and walls, span moats and trenches, and more. But there was more to the kaga's usefulness than just climbing. The hook, when wielded as a weapon, could do devastating harm to any foe it came into touch with. The rope might also tangle an enemy's weapon, giving you the upper hand in battle. Ninjas famous for their swimming skills might use the kaga to anchor themselves in strong currents or secure a boat, but this was a less well-known use in aquatic conditions. The kaga was a perfect example of the versatility of ninja weapons. It was more than simply a weapon. It made ninjas more agile and responsive, which was crucial for covert operations. This adaptability embodies the ninja spirit, according to which every tool might serve several functions, the user's imagination and resourcefulness serving as the only constraints. Number 13. Shuriken Star Blades. The shuriken is an important weapon in the ninja world. Shuriken, which are also known as concealed hand blades, are available in a wide range of sizes and forms. The conventional wisdom is that their primary function was murder, but in fact they were intended to confuse and divert enemies' attention. A shuriken is essentially a flat-bladed missile that is often misinterpreted for having a star form. The most well-known kind is the Hiroshuriken, also known as a throwing star. It has 3 to 8 points and sharp edges that are used to do harm. The bow shuriken is another obscure kind. It has thin, straight spikes in the shape of a cylindrical bow. Several methods exist for throwing them, such as dropping them for surprise assaults or throwing them upwards or sideways. Ninja methods relied heavily on the element of surprise. Because of their small size and ability to be concealed, shuriken were perfect for operations requiring stealth. Mastering their usage required a great deal of expertise, despite their little size. Along with swordsmanship, archery, and hand-to-hand fighting, Shuriken Jutsu was a branch of martial arts training. Although shuriken were usually not poisoned, ninjas would sometimes infuse wounds made by these blades with things like bacteria-laden earth, poisonous herbs, or animal venoms, according to historical accounts. But nonetheless, shuriken's principal function was to divert attention away from the enemy so the ninja could land a killing blow or flee. Not only could shuriken be thrown, but they could also be stabbed or blocked in close-quarters fighting. They were often used as climbing aids, wedged into walls to create improvised handholds. Because of these qualities, the shuriken is one of the most interesting weapons that ninjas may use. They are a reflection of the ninja's ingenuity and strategy, turning a plain piece of metal into an adaptable and deadly weapon, ideal for their covert missions. Number 12. Kyoketsu Shu Hook, Knife, and Rope. The Kyoketsu Shu, literally meaning hook, knife, and rope, was an adaptable weapon that the ninja could use in many situations. This implement was made out of a serrated blade and a curved hook that were fastened to a long rope, which often had a ring or weight attached to its tip. The versatile use of the Kyoketsu Shu made it stand out. In close-quarters fighting, the hooked blade was useful for slicing and stabbing. Its unusual form allowed it to seize and neutralize an adversary's weapon, much like a kama. The multi-purpose rope, which usually measured about 18 feet in length, had several uses. Use it as a climbing aid, a tripwire for traps, or to entangle an enemy or their weapon. You might hurl the weighted end of the rope to distract an attacker or hit them from a distance. Because of the tool's versatility and the risk of self-injury, training to become proficient with the Kyoketsu Shu needed extensive practice. Nonetheless, the ninja's ethos of ingenuity and adaptation was embodied by its versatility, making it a perfect weapon for them. The Kyoketsu Shu was a perfect example of the ninja's ability to think strategically and creatively, since it showed how they could use one item for several purposes. Number 11. Makibishi, the spiked obstacles. Makibishi, often called caltrops, are unique ninja weapons that are more designed for control and disruption than pure violence. A four-pointed star in shape, the Makibishi was designed to land with one of its pointed spikes pointing skyward no matter what. While iron was the material most often used to make these Makibishi, other variations were made from tetsuichi and tenenbishi, which are hardened plant materials. A ninja may throw these spikes over the ground during a tactical retreat or intense fight, turning the environment into a dangerous trap for foes chasing after them. The pointed ends might pierce a horse's hoof or a person's foot, causing excruciating agony and maybe even death. The ninja would still have enough time to flee or regroup if their pursuers were delayed or forced to change their route due to the presence of Makibishi, even if the enemy avoided trampling on them directly. In addition to their practical use, Makibishi had a psychological function by making enemies nervous and afraid of the consequences of walking on them. This derailment has the potential to lower opponent morale and coordination, demonstrating the ninja's strategic acumen. The ninja's focus on psychological warfare and strategic thinking are shown by their mastery of Makibishi, which allows them to manipulate the battlefield. The Makibishi stood for a more roundabout method of fighting, snaring enemies when they were unprepared and from unexpected directions. This clever tool highlights the ninja's resourcefulness as they turn everyday items into dangerous traps and make the most of their surroundings. The Makibishi is fascinating because it has gone outside its historical context and is now often mentioned in popular culture, especially in media involving ninjas, including as movies and video games. Ninja strategies and ingenuity continue to captivate audiences, as seen by their pervasiveness in contemporary narratives. Also, you may find contemporary takes on the Makibishi in a variety of self-defense items, which shows how old methods still impact new ways of staying safe and avoiding danger. The ninja's philosophy, which emphasizes strategy and flexibility over brute force, may be better understood by delving into the ingenious use of weapons like the Makibishi. This way of thinking is applicable in both the past and the present. Number 10. UTA, the specialized baton. One important weapon in the ninja's armory was the UTA, which is a specialized baton. Although it was not exclusive to the ninja and was often linked to samurai and the police, the ninja's usage of it demonstrated their pragmatic approach to fighting and protecting themselves. The UTA, at its core, was an iron or steel rod that was one piece and usually around 45 centimeters long. In keeping with its multi-purpose nature, it was somewhat fancier than a conventional baton. The prong or hook, called the kogi, that was situated about 1/3 of the way down the length of the UTA, was one of its distinguishing features. The UTA's sturdy construction allowed it to endure heavy usage. The UTA's capability in warfare was immense, despite its apparently unassuming form. Its principal use was to parry and deflect blows, particularly those delivered with a katana. The prong played a vital role in this function, enabling an adept user to seize and manipulate an adversary's weapon, which might result in disarming. When used offensively, the pointed end of the UTA might stab or hit an enemy, doing damage to vulnerable parts of their body. A lethal weapon that may incapacitate an opponent with a single well-executed hit. The UTA might be enhanced by combining it with the ninja's awareness of key areas. UTAs could affect settings, entangle clothes or gear, and even act as a makeshift climbing aid, thus their value went far beyond direct conflict. Because of its strong construction, it may also be used as a lever or to smash through barricades. A ninja could carry the UTA without drawing suspicion because to its modest look, which was typically associated with police enforcement. This was a significant benefit in clandestine operations. Training for the UTA was very demanding, with a focus on biomechanics, distance, and time. It took discipline, patience, and knowledge of fighting dynamics for a ninja to become an adept with the UTA. Number 9. Metsubushi, the Eye Blinder. While ninjas utilize a wide variety of weaponry, the Metsubushi stands out for its disorienting and confusing effects more than its destructive ones. Metsubushi, which are also called eye blinders, were designed to momentarily deceive or divert enemies, giving ninjas a crucial chance to strike or flee. Things like dust, crushed pepper, metal filings, or even small pieces of broken glass were common contents of these egg-shaped receptacles. These canisters, when hurled at an opponent, would break on contact, spilling their blinding contents and causing pain and temporary blindness. Just like this. And now once I've done this, they come close, and that's when I distribute the powder. Metsubushi weren't deadly per se, but they were vital in deciding the result of fights by confusing the enemy. With this crucial advantage, the ninja might launch a devastating attack or flee in a flash. Ninja tactics are characterized by imaginative and strategic thought, which is exemplified by this smart weapon. Using just commonplace materials, they created an instrument that could alter the course of combat in an instant. The Metsubushi personifies the ninja's ingenuity and resourcefulness, highlighting that blinding poisons might be just as effective as deadly weapons in achieving victory. Number 8. Kakut, the Deadly Rings. Makibishi, often called caltrops, are unique ninja weapons that are more designed for control and disruption than pure violence. A four-pointed star in shape, the Makibishi was designed to land with one of its pointed spikes pointing skyward, no matter what. While iron was the material most often used to make these Makibishi, other variations were made from tetsuichi and tenenbishi, which are hardened plant materials. A ninja may throw these spikes over the ground during a tactical retreat or intense fight, turning the environment into a dangerous trap for foes chasing after them. The pointed ends might pierce a horse's hoof or a person's foot, causing excruciating agony and maybe even death. The ninja would still have enough time to flee or regroup if their pursuers were delayed or forced to change their route due to the presence of Makibishi, even if the enemy avoided trampling on them directly. In addition to their practical use, Makibishi had a psychological function by making enemies nervous and afraid of the consequences of walking on them. This derailment has the potential to lower opponent morale and coordination, demonstrating the ninja's strategic acumen. The ninja's focus on psychological warfare and strategic thinking are shown by their mastery of Makibishi, which allows them to manipulate the battlefield. The Makibishi stood for a more roundabout method of fighting, snaring enemies when they were unprepared and from unexpected directions. This clever tool highlights the ninja's resourcefulness, as they turn everyday items into dangerous traps and make the most of their surroundings. The Makibishi is fascinating because it has gone outside its historical context and is now often mentioned in popular culture, especially in media involving ninjas, including as movies and video games. Ninja strategies and ingenuity continue to captivate audiences, as seen by their pervasiveness in contemporary narratives. Also, you may find contemporary takes on the Makibishi in a variety of self-defense items, which shows how old methods still impact new ways of staying safe and avoiding danger. The ninja's philosophy, which emphasizes strategy and flexibility over brute force, may be better understood by delving into the ingenious use of weapons like the Makibishi. This way of thinking is applicable in both the past and the present. Number 7. Yumi, the Longbow. One of the most prestigious weapons used by ninjas is the Yumi, or longbow. The Yumi was the perfect weapon for honing a ninja's archery skills because of its distinctive asymmetrical design, which was an essential part of their training. Historically, the Yumi, made of bamboo, wood, and leather, was taller than common archers. Its unique design, a grip placed 1/3 from the bottom, enhanced stability and control, allowing for pinpoint arrow shoots. If a ninja was skilled with the Yumi, they could sneak up on their enemies and kill them without a sound. Its attacking powers weren't the only thing the Yumi could do. It could also communicate. The ninjas could communicate over great distances using coded signals sent by the path an arrow took or the sound it made when it hit. The ninjas' discipline, accuracy, and elegance were on display in the Yumi. The years of hard work and devotion that each ninja put into mastering this weapon were evident. As a representation of the ninja's stealthy yet lethal efficacy, the Yumi is like a whisper of death in the wind. Number 6. Fukiya, the blowgun. Ninja's mastery of stealth and accuracy is on full display with the Fukiya, or blowgun. This ninja weapon was a thin tube made of bamboo that the ninja would use to blast pellets or darts at an enemy. Despite the blowgun's unassuming appearance, its impact was substantial and must not be disregarded. At crucial times, a well-placed dart might subtly incapacitate a guard or deflect the focus of an adversary. The ninja could attack from a distance while staying inconspicuous because to the Fukiya's basic design. The Fukiya could throw deadly darts that were typically laced with poison. To prevent detection, a wide range of poisonous compounds were employed, some of which caused instant death, and others which produced symptoms typical of common illnesses. One additional use for the Fukiya is that it was allegedly used by ninjas to throw darts laced with chemicals that may momentarily blind their targets. The Fukiya has more than just deadly purposes. To keep the ninja submerged for long periods of time, it may, for example, function as a breathing tube. To top it all off, it might double as a peephole, giving you a sneak peek at your rivals without their knowing. The Fukiya personifies the ninja's strategy and stealth in battle with its exquisite simplicity and deadly capability. Number 5. Kusarigama chains and sickle. An iconic weapon of the ninja is the kusarigama, a remarkable combination of the sickle, the kama, and the kusari, a weighted chain. This deadly combo combined the strengths of close quarters fighting with those of long-range strikes, giving the combatants a considerable tactical advantage. The wickedly curved sickle at one end of the kusarigama was ideal for slashing and stabbing in close quarters. An iron weight, slung from a sturdy chain, could be flung at an adversary from a distance. The other end had this same weight. It was possible to hit, entangle an opponent's weapon or limbs, or use the weighted chain as a diversion because to its adaptability. The kusarigama, when wielded by an expert, could unleash a barrage of unpredictable and very versatile attacks. Depending on the circumstances, a ninja might use the sickle for close-quarters fighting or the chain for long-range assaults. The enemy had a hard time predicting and responding to the ninja's moves because of its unpredictable nature. Note that the kusarigama's unpredictable nature posed a substantial danger of self-injury. Therefore, mastering it required rigorous training. However, in the hands of a skilled ninja, this weapon could take on several foes at once, with the chain allowing the wielder to keep their distance and the sickle allowing them to battle close quarters. The kusarigama is a showcase weapon that requires talent but offers significant rewards. It epitomizes the ninja's tactical genius and agility. It captures the spirit of deftness and lethal elegance. Number 4. Shinobi-zu, the hidden sword stick. The Shinobi-zu, or concealed sword stick, is a classic example of a ninja's ingenuity. Looking like a regular walking cane on the outside, this weapon really had a lethal secret hidden within its wooden structure. For covert operations, when one needed to blend in with civilians, the Shinobi-zu was the weapon of choice. To the untrained eye, it seemed to be little more than a plain walking staff, allowing the ninja to conceal their weaponry. Shinobi-zus were effective because they allowed ninjas to catch their enemies off guard by quickly revealing their concealed blades when the moment was right. Usually, the sword inside had a sharp, straight blade that could do a lot of harm. In addition, the Shinobi-zu demonstrated how the ninja were crafty in their use of commonplace items for the purposes of espionage and destruction. It might be used as a snorkel while swimming, or as a respirator when exposed to smoke or poisonous chemicals. In the end, the Shinobi-zu personified the principle that innovation is driven by need. The ninja's skill in transforming ordinary objects into weapons is shown by this gadget, which further intertwines their clandestine lives with their missions. Number 3. Shikoro neck blades. The shikoro is one of the more obscure weapons carried by ninjas. It is intended for covert killings. Worn around the neck, they were tiny blades fastened to the reverse side of a band of metal or leather. A concealed weapon ready for close-quarters fighting was the intended purpose of the shikoro's design. The ninja could quickly brandish the swords if they discovered or cornered an adversary. In order to slice or penetrate vital places like the neck, face, or belly, the blades were usually very sharp. The small size and ease of concealment of a shikoro blade made it almost impossible to see one without actively seeking it out. This quality made them perfect for ninja missions when the ninja had to blend in with their surroundings while carrying weapons that may attract attention. Because its intended use was to inflict lethal blows to crucial places, mastering the use of a shikoro required pinpoint accuracy and an in-depth knowledge of human anatomy. These blades may have been coated with poison at one point for further lethality, according to certain historical tales. The shikoro is a perfect example of the ninja's emphasis on stealth, swiftness, and surprise. It represents the dangerous world these shadow fighters lived in, where one unseen blade may be the difference between life and death. Number 2. Kama, the sickle. The ninja's resourcefulness and flexibility were on display with the kama, also called the sickle. The transformation of this item from an agricultural equipment into a deadly weapon exemplifies the old saying that the greatest weapon is the one you have on hand. Similar to its agricultural cousin, the kama has a short handle and a sharp, curved blade. However, it is used in a different way, with strokes from right to left. But when a ninja got their hands on it, it transformed from a tool for harvesting crops into a deadly weapon. The kama was basically a weapon for close-quarters warfare. The ninja could quickly and fatally slice their enemies with its sharp edge, and the blade's curvature made it easy to snag and disable their weapons, allowing them to launch counterattacks. The kama's wooden handle served as a makeshift shield, allowing it to parry and block incoming assaults in addition to being an aggressive weapon. The kama's dual use made it a great weapon to have on hand in a wide range of battles. During periods of stringent weapon laws, the kama's dual use as a military weapon and an agricultural implement gave it considerable benefits. Since the kama was seen as just agricultural equipment, a ninja could carry one without raising suspicion. The clandestine operations that ninjas often engaged in relied heavily on their ability to blend into daily life. Demonstrating the ninja's fondness for flexibility and adaptation, the kama could also be used with a chain called the kusari, or held in pairs, the naginata. The ninja's armory was further expanded by these innovations, which increased the weapon's range and introduced new methods. Like the path of a ninja from beginner to master, the transformation of the kama from an ordinary agricultural implement into a multi-purpose weapon required a change of perspective, inventiveness, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. There is a connection between the ninja's life and the everyday world, and the kama is a symbol of that connection. Their weapons embodied the dichotomy of the everyday and the lethal. They were more than just implements of violence. They were extensions of themselves. Number 1. Tekagi, hand claws. The tekagi, or hand claws, are the most violent and primordial weapon a ninja may use. A person's hands are one of their most fundamental tools, and these weapons were made to complement them. A tekagi's 4 or 5 claw-like spikes, either curved or straight, fitted into a metal band that seemed to grow out of the wearer's hand at first look. Because of its design, A ninja's hand could perform a wide range of deadly assaults. Slashing and stabbing were the primary uses of the Takagi in close-quarters battle. The weapon's sharp claws could pierce armor and cause serious wounds. Having said that, their use was not just insulting. The Takagi's ability to parry or catch an opponent's blade opens the door for counterattacks in defensive situations. Although they weren't specifically designed for it, Takagi might be useful for sneaking up on enemies by offering more grip when climbing or crawling. The Takagi's capacity to intimidate was an intriguing feature. A ninja might get a psychological edge by instilling dread in an opponent only by seeing a hand turn into a claw. A weapon of offensive and defensive prowess, well suited to the unpredictable and dangerous arena of the ninja, could be created from a simple idea, enhancing the natural human hand, as the Takagi demonstrated. This armament was ruthlessly efficient. Do you think ninjas are beneficial to society or harmful? Please inform us by leaving a comment below. Until we meet again.